in any event, we're celebrating this weekend, and between songs, I was outside cooling off, and a friend of the family's came up, and there were 3 or 4 of us speaking around a table. This guy was an academician. I believe he was a retired college chemistry professor or something like that. And he just told me that he had bypass surgery, right? Bypass surgery. Now, he didn't know anything about what naturopathy was, didn't even know that the profession existed. And before he walked up to the table, I was talking to the other people who were there about what it was that I did. I didn't start the conversation, they did, and they were really fascinated by the whole concept of holistic medicine, and they were, halfway on board with it. At least they had open minds to it. But then this guy came over, and after he listened to me explain what my profession was about and what it was that I did for a living, he looked at me and he said, I just don't buy it. I said, well, I don't know what it is that you think I'm selling. I'm not selling anything. I'm just telling you what my profession is and what we do, and that there is, in fact, a profession, a fully licensed and regulated medical profession in the United States that delivers alternatives to drugs and surgery. And he said, well, if that were the case, then why aren't you, he said, if your therapeutics were as good as you're saying that they are, why aren't you teaching at Rush? Why aren't you on board with, which is a big hospital in Chicago? Why aren't you, giving lectures at the nutrition center in the hospital that I just had my surgery at? And I kind of looked at him with my jaw open, and it was an aha moment for me. Because we've been so far out in front of the curve here for so long. We have been so far out in front of the curve that I get used to talking to people who are open-minded. The people that call into this show are open-minded. I don't think I've gotten one heckler call in 2.5 years of doing the radio show. I don't think I've gotten one heckle call. People call up here because they're already frustrated with conventional medicine, and they're smart enough to understand that I represent a profession that's licensed and regulated, right? And the medical school that I went to was a fully accredited medical school that passed muster from the same academic accreditation board that Harvard University did. And this is a good thing. But this was really kind of a mind twister for me. It was almost as if I'd entered into a time machine and I was transported, back into the dark ages, because he just couldn't accept the notion that there did, in fact, exist alternatives to drugs and surgery that were developed and delivered by licensed and regulated physicians. And he just couldn't accept the fact that there were other people other than MDs who could legitimately, accurately, and professionally refer to themselves as doctors. I think it kind of twisted his mind up into a little bunch. And, rather than just think about it and ponder it and sit with it, his immediate knee-jerk reaction was, no, I just don't buy it. I can't buy it. I can't believe this. I don't buy this. Which is, a passive-aggressive way of saying, look, you're just a quack. It would have actually been better had he come out and said, you're just a quack, because at least that would have been, the manly thing to do. But people never do that, because most people who are closed-minded are cowards. They're cowards, and they're working their way through life based out of fear, right?
Have your guests connected?
Yeah, thank you very much. Working their way through life out of fear. And this is the thing. I understood. It stood out to me in bold face all of a sudden that there still do exist in the world numbers, hordes, crores, millions of people who are completely in the dark about what we do, right? And it's like that time when my colleagues were trying to get naturopathic medicine licensed in the South, and I honestly can't remember which state it was. It was Louisiana, maybe Georgia, maybe South Carolina, maybe Kentucky, I can't remember. The bill was on the governor's desk, and the representatives went in there to talk to the governor about what we were doing, and the governor looked down at the desk, and he saw, the naturopathic bill, and he said, naturopaths? We don't need hiking trails. We need jobs. And this was 25 years ago when arguably you could say, well, that's understandable because it's a brand new profession in the political sphere. I mean, this profession's older than the hills and twice as dusty. But from the political perspective, it's a brand new. We're the new kid on the block, and I can understand 20 years ago how people would not even have heard about it. But at this day and age, for people to have not even heard about it, I mean, that's a great big mind twister for me. And so for a singular moment in time, my head was spinning counterclockwise on its cerebrospinal axis, and I really had to pause and take a breath and just remember that, when you don't take things personally, life gets a whole lot easier. Because regardless of what this gentleman believes or regardless of what anybody else believes, the truth will out. I mean, even if you don't know anything about mathematics, 2 + 2 is still 4 because that's just the way it is.